Good evening. It's the 1st of April, and I traditionally like to do a silly little video for April Fool's Day. And by traditionally, I mean I only started last year. As regular viewers will know, I've been doing a little mini-series on the renamed stations on each line. And a few people have suggested that for April Fool's Day I should cover the Waterloo and City line. And so that's what I'm going to do. Except that, actually, there have been renamings on the Waterloo and City line. So, the April Fool's gag is that this is not an April Fool's gag. The Waterloo and City line, if you're not familiar with the Underground, is probably the most unusual line on the system. It was opened in 1898 as the Waterloo and City Railway to take passengers from Waterloo to Bank, and those are the only two stations on the route. It was effectively owned by whichever railway company owned Waterloo Station until 1994, when it officially became an underground line. Depending on how you define these things, that might make it the newest line on the tube. There have been various notions to extend it, to connect it with other lines, or to add an extra station at Blackfriars, but nothing has ever come of it. The general consensus seems to be that any of these schemes would be more trouble than they're worth. So, the renamings. Let's go, I don't know, south to north. The first is at Waterloo. When Waterloo Station was opened in 1848, it was named Waterloo Bridge. There wasn't really such a place as Waterloo at the time. This area was considered part of Lambeth. The station wasn't renamed until 1882, by which time the station had brought enough development to effectively make Waterloo count as its own distinct place. The next station up the line to change its name was Bank. The Waterloo and City line station was opened as City. Bank Station has always been kind of a mess, and seemingly every line that passed through here decided to give their station its own name. The name City is actually pretty on the nose when you know the line's history. The London and South Western Railway, who built Waterloo Station, wanted to get across the river and into the city, but they could never afford it. The invention of deep-level electric tubes in 1890 gave them a perfect solution. Whereas other railway companies named their city termini after specific locations, like Cannon Street and Liverpool Street, the Waterloo and City decided to just straight up name theirs City. I should also point out that on the original plans this station was to be called Mansion House. So, there you go. Not only have there been renamed stations on the Waterloo and City line, but it's the only line where every single station has been renamed. I mean, we could debate whether renaming the mainline station at Waterloo counts, but I say that because the Waterloo and City line has been owned by the main line for the majority of its existence, it does count. Of course, if you disagree, there's a comments section for that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this humorless tale from the tube. If you did, please do leave a like and consider subscribing for more. Next year maybe I'll have to come up with an actual joke. Thanks as ever to my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. You are the city to my Waterloo. And I'll see you all again very soon for another tale from the tube.